Are widening their net in the crackdown on illegal miners in Gauteng. On Tuesday, police arrested dozens of people in Randfontein on the West Rand. And this time, the sting operation is there in the West Rand, being led by the Gauteng Provincial Commissioner, Elias Mawela. At least 2 illegal mine workers have been arrested this morning. Earlier, we spoke to my colleague, senior reporter Aviwe Mtila, who was there on the ground.
We've seen at least 2 illegal miners that have been arrested this morning, colleague. We're on top of an old mine. This is where these illegal zama-zamas stay and they process this gold. What you're seeing now is the police, South African Police Service, actually destroying these dwellings as they try to clean up and, of course, get to grapples with the mines themselves and the illegal mining. We're not far from where the tragic incidents of the rapes actually happened. There's a mountain just on my left there where my colleague Tami is going to show you where it actually happened. It's some 300 or so meters away. That mountain that you see there is where these gruesome and heinous rapes actually happened. I want to have a conversation with the Provincial Commissioner just to get a better understanding of what happens here. It seems quite sophisticated in terms of the equipment that's on the ground here. You can see some of the metal on the ground. There are even gases on the ground. As I'm going to try to get the Provincial Commissioner, General Elias Mawela, to give us a bit more details on what is happening here. We'll do a walkabout with the Provincial Commissioner just to show us here. Commissioner, thank you for joining us at eNCA once more, but what's happening here today?
Yeah, this is the operational area. They process whatever minerals they got. As you can see, there are tools of trade here, the pendukas, the gas cylinders, and we will walk there. You'll see how these people, they are hiding their gas cylinders on the ground so that it cannot easily be found by the police. But they know how to use those things. We'll walk where the police are right now and so that you can see. And these guys, they bring the materials here. They wash the gold-bearing material so that they can separate the gold from that material. They are also using the mercury. You'll see next to the vent there, we have also found some of the mercury which they are using. And so when we came here, because our drone, it has shown us that, you know, they are operating here. But because of the challenge of bringing them up here, bringing the police up here, they ran away, they went into the tunnel, and that tunnel, it stretches up to Kagiso. You can see here, down here, that's how they are keeping their, yeah.
So what my colleague showing you now is the gas cylinders that they use as part of the operations, Commissioner?
Yes, it's part of the operation. So they put it here. And when they have to process whatever material, then they will connect easily there and start doing it here. So this is their fortress point or their operational area. So we felt that we need to launch this operation here so that we can disrupt them. And it will take them some time to can re-establish themselves. As you can see that the kind of equipment they're using is quite expensive equipment. So once we have removed this equipment, it can take them 3 to whatever months. At least we'll have a breather. We can concentrate in other areas. We know that here, at least we don't have that challenges. But some of the people, they've ran to their location where they are sleeping. We got addresses, and we have sent some teams in those addresses. We hope that we are going to find them there. So the operator, he went down there with the team members. As soon as they get something, they'll let us know, and then we'll move into that particular space. But let me also take you there so that you can see some of the tools of trade.
Okay, that's gas cylinders, just one colleague of dozens that we've seen here. But maybe as we walk towards where you're going to show us, Commissioner, maybe tell us about what happened when you got here. We had to walk some kilometer to go to this top of the mountain here. Did you find any of them here?
Yes, because of we launched our drone to can monitor their activities. So there were plus minus 11 of them. They were still operating here, and some they were preparing to can make food. You know, there was some meat and whatever. So when our operators they come over here, so they ran over the mountain and then they've used the tunnel. They went into the tunnel because they understand the terrain better. And then when we engage some of the people who are familiar with this place, they said that tunnel, once you enter into that tunnel, it stretches plus minus 10 kilometers. You can find yourself that other side of Kagiso.
Well, that's Elias Mawela. They're on the ground a little bit earlier in the Krugersdorp area together with our colleague, senior reporter, Aviu Mdila. But the Commissioner is now with me here in the studio. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. I mean, you've had such a busy few days and such a busy morning, and you took your time to explain to Aviu there in that bite we just played, showing what the trades, the tools you found there of these illegal miners. How is the operation going so far?
Thank you very much, Dan, for giving us another opportunity. The operation is progressing very well. Right now, the number of people arrested, it has now risen to 24. And then all those tools of trade which we have recovered earlier on when
24 people arrested today?
Yes, today. So we are happy with what we are doing, and I'm also grateful that some of the community members in that particular space, they talk to us directly, giving us those 5 addresses which I was talking about. Is the information given to us by the community to say, go to that address, go to that address. That's where these people, when they run away from the mining dump, they go and sleep there or they hide themselves in those houses. And that information was positive. We went there, we found those people there, and then we have arrested
So
them.
some of those you found there make up this 24?
Yes.
So as we speak now, there are 24 illegal miners who are behind bars.
Yes.
And we are arrested mostly at particular addresses.
Yes.
Was it in the township? Where was it in Mutlakeng? Are you able to tell with us where exactly did they find accommodation?
Right there at Krugersdorp, the famous area, what do they call that one? The one which they were talking, the lady was talking much about it.
West Village?
West Village,
Yes.
That's where we found these people.
And the people of West Village are living fearful lives. From
Yes.
what Nicolene, the lady's name, I can't forget it,
Yes.
because we all watched there listening to her pain and how she articulated it. So they were found at West Village.
Yes.
These 24 individuals, are you able to tell us whether or not they're South Africans or foreign nationals? And there's a reason why I'm asking this.
No, they are foreign nationals, and then we are going to take them through our processing center. We do the necessary, like we did with the others, so that we can check whether they are linked to other criminal activities and so forth, or we can, because when we take their fingerprints, we take their buccal sample and so forth, in our database, we'll be able to establish whether they were involved in other crimes or they were evading
So
the
the database will contain fingerprints of individuals, even if they were undocumented,
Yes.
that were found on a crime scene earlier.
Exactly.
You keep those as police.
Yes.
So now you'll be cross-referencing them
Yes.
to see if there's matches or not.
Exactly.
Okay. The first group, after the horrific rape of 8 young South African women at the Krugersdorp Man Cup, was like some 80 people?
Yeah, 82.
82.
And then 2 deceased, yes.
2 have died?
Yes.
Okay. Under what conditions?
Yeah, those were, they were trying to engage our police officers, and they were found in possession of firearms. And then when they engaged our special forces, then unfortunately they were fatally wounded.
Okay. So the 80 that are still there, are they also all foreign nationals? And you're
Yes.
still establishing their status, or are they all illegal? Can you tell us by today if you are aware, if they are all illegal, undocumented foreigners or not?
Yes, we can confirm that all of them, they are undocumented. Home Affairs, they've checked, they've went through the system, they've went through everything which they need to do in terms of their Immigration Act. They've confirmed to us that all these people, they are illegal in the country.
And the 24 you've arrested today, the additional 24 you've arrested today, you're still going to check?
Yes.
Okay. Age-wise, how old are these men, these 80 plus 24, 104 men? What do you know about their ages? Are they fairly young? Are they of all ages?
Yeah, all ages, but what is worrisome, brother, is what we have seen yesterday in the operation, because we find some 12 years.
12-year-olds?
Yes, 12-year-old. And I was asking this young man, how did you come in here? And then he said, no, we were put in a Kumbi from Maputo, and then we're driven up to here. So you can see that there is also an element of human smuggling.
Human trafficking.
Or trafficking.
Yeah.
So smuggling, well, cooperation between the smuggler and the person, but trafficking, maybe they didn't know why they've been brought into South Africa and to do what. And that is worrisome.
Okay. My impression and that of many other South Africans, is that you've taken too long to act against the zama-zamas in Gauteng. Gauteng is the smallest province, but is the single biggest economic hub of the country. Its GDP is number 4 in Africa, and it's a city of gold. People come here. It has for decades, for centuries, attracted people from the whole hinterland of Southern Africa. But zama-zamas have been a pain in the butt for local authorities, and we've known about them for a long time. Why has it taken you so long, for example, in Krugersdorp, to act the way you are now?
Yeah, brother, it's what the people they are saying, but we have been running sustainable operations in that particular space. Maybe the people, they were not concentrating much on that because they thought, it's just another police operation. But we have been doing this operation the longest time. And after this incident, everybody started to concentrate much on this. You know, I'll give you a practical example. Some of the media people, they were joining us when we were doing this operation, when we removed the pendukas and so forth. I remember also one of the journalists from this media house, she was with us in Benoni when, you know, the people, they were firing shots at us.
Yes, I remember that incident, a couple of years ago, yes.
So clearly we've been doing this thing. We've been operating on that, not to say that we have started to wake up when we hear about these things. And there is also another approach, the organized approach, whereby DPCI is leading. And they are focusing on this value chain of organized crime, level 3 to 5. And they've been doing a great job about that one, identifying those who are receiving, those who are managing this particular space. And now that we have started with this thing, people, they will begin to pay attention when we issue statement that we have dealt with somebody who is a level 4 or it's a level 5 and so forth.
Okay, so this special unit, it's what you said, DB?
DPCI, the Hawks.
The Hawks. Okay,
the Hawks,
sorry.
Yes.
I wanted to know what is DPCI. Okay, the Hawks. So the Hawks are doing their stuff because they think this is a crime syndicate that's organized.
Yes.
So they're going for the big fish.
Yes.
What you have arrested in Krugersdorp, the 104, the additional 24 today, are the foot soldiers.
Yes, these are the foot soldiers. We call them the level 1 and level 2.
Are they telling you who's organizing them? Are they sharing with you? Like this 12-year-old from Mozambique, all the way in Ekumbi from Mozambique to be dropped off at the legal unused mine in Krugersdorp. Are they telling you, I mean, are you going to be trying to find out, but how do you come? How are you recruited?
Yes, Braden, I'll give you a practical example of one incident in Matoleville, Rue de Poort. We were there, and the sad part in Matoleville, you find that behind each and every 4-room house, there is a activity of processing this mine. Yes, if you can go to Matole village there, it's scary. And the people there, you know, they've rented their back rooms to these people.
So local South Africans are renting the backyards for the zama-zamas to process the stolen minerals.
Yes. So there we've arrested some of the zama-zamas there. And then we started talking to them, asked them, actually, who's managing you? They told us about a certain fellow staying in Santen. We said, no, call that fellow to say that we have arrested you and we can talk about your release. Guess what? The man came having 100,000 rand. So we have arrested that particular person. So when you engage them, some of them, they talk. But the good thing about yesterday's operation is that 30 cell phones were also confiscated. So the Hawks have taken those cell phones, they are going to download them and then begin to check the network, who is talking to who and whatever.
Okay, how widespread is this zama-zama, illegal mining? You've mentioned a couple of years ago you had a sting operation in Ekurhuleni, in the Benoni area. Now we've seen the Krugersdorp one that's been in the headlines. I don't know where else you've been, because my impression was that you are not doing your job, but you are saying you are fighting the zama-zamas. How widespread is it in the province, the challenge of illegal mining?
Yes, you know, 3 districts. West Rand, Johannesburg, and Ekurhuleni. In Ekurhuleni, it's your Benoni, your Boksburg. That's where you'll find them in numbers. And then here in Joburg, obviously, we know all these areas where there is mining and so forth, and your Rudoport area, part of Kagiso, but Tsepiso, which is part of Johannesburg, and the West Rand headquarters, where there is a lot of zama-zamas. Staying is Pegastar. and it's a problematic area because, again, locals, what they did, when the municipality was relocating the locals to another area, because it's a Dolomite area, they've given all those houses to the zama-zamas. So when you get there, you find that everybody who's there, it's a foreign national. So we have to chase all those people. But it is our own people who have given over their own houses to these people.
Are you arresting our own people?
No, our own people, we don't have charges for them, But what we have said to the municipality is that look into this thing. Is it legal for the locals to can maybe sublet their property to these foreign nationals? Let them look into that thing.
But and also use their backyard to process the stolen minerals.
It is a problem.
Like in Rodiport, as you said. Okay. The reason I was asking about are they foreign nationals or not is not anything but to get a picture, to understand. Because when this horrendous rape of 8 young women happened the other day, we got to hear that the Zimbabweans are involved, Mozambicans are involved, Basotho nationals are involved. And I spoke to a couple of people who live in the Krugersdorp area who say, locals, they say, we are afraid of the men in blankets. Apparently they come from Lesotho. So in these 104 who are currently behind bars that we've arrested, are they from any of these countries or are they from all of these countries? Mozambique, Zimbabwe, Lesotho, as examples.
Yes, mostly from the SADC region, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, and Lesotho.
So that's, and they're all undocumented.
Yes.
Yeah. So you've arrested them, you're going to charge them.
Yes.
What charges are you going to be laying against them?
Yeah, already we have charged them with being in the country illegally in terms of the Immigration Act.
That's so they've contravened the Immigration Act, yes.
That one is given. And the second thing which we are looking at is to link them to other crimes which they may have committed through this DNA testing, through the fingerprints, through the PIVA, all those systems which we have unleashed to them. So once we pick up something, then we'll add additional charges.
Okay, but for now, all of them, it's the Immigration Act that they've contravened. So you went to the raid in Krugersdorp there after the rape and looking for the suspects for the rape. Now it's ended up also being this big operation that you say is against zama-zamas that you've done already for some years in the Gauteng area. You've mentioned the 3 hotspots, the districts of Ekurhuleni, the West Rand, and Johannesburg. Let's talk about this rape thing now. We are in the month of August. It's Women's Month, and shockingly, we begin talking about yet a group of women who are being abused and raped and sexually attacked. The fight against GBV is top of mind again in our country, which is a sketch. How far are you with the investigation as the police into the rape of the 8 young women?
We are hard at work, Braden. No doubt about it. We are hard at work, and we know that the level of anxiety in the country is very high. They want to hear what is that which we have picked up. So we have given the forensic investigators, our local criminal record center and forensic laboratories space. We said to them, do a thorough job. No rush, do a thorough job, link with all the systems we are having in the country. In all our database, to check everything so that we can link these people with whatever crimes.
This is from the evidence you collected at the site of the rape?
Yes.
So you found evidence there that the forensic laboratory can be busy with to investigate?
Positive evidence, which is usable by our forensic laboratory. So we want to give them space so that they do a thorough job. And I will also appeal to our citizens that let's give them space. Let us not rush them, and they make mistakes, and we come back, we say the police, they've messed up the case again. So we give them enough space so that they do a proper job, and so that when we go back to court, we have something concrete to can present before the court.
Which would mean currently none of the 104 zama-zamas have been linked to the rape.
Yeah, because we are still waiting for the report from the forensic.
But at this stage, you don't know. You don't know if the rapist might be amongst them or not. You're still doing your work there. Now, will you, as the police, continue the raids that we've been seeing? You were on the ground this morning, and I said, Ella, thanks for coming to the studio after a long morning there. Are you going to continue? You've mentioned the hotspots. Okay, are you going to continue?
Definitely, Braden, we are going to sustain this operation. Our citizens, they are complaining. Their voice is getting louder and louder by the day. So we need to respond. We can't respond by media statement and so forth. We need to respond by action. So they need to see us in the streets, the boots on the ground, doing exactly what the citizens are complaining about.
Yeah, the other issue of complaining, which is not in your space, is the issue of convictions. Yeah. Because if the police, you do your job, let's say you do it well, like you've told the forensics, don't rush this rape case of Krugersdorp, do your job properly so that we get evidence that can stand when we prosecute in court, is that the rate of conviction, especially against GBV violence, is a problem. But before you even get there, we still have complaints, Commissioner, today, that when a woman who's been attacked goes to a police station, the police are still not doing their work properly. Are you beginning to change that and assist? Because women feel that if they get there, they're going to suffer for the second time because of the kinds of treatment that they get at police stations. What's the situation in Gauteng, in how your members and officers at the various police stations are dealing with victims of rape and other types of sexual attacks?
Yes, but then there and there you'll get some complaints that a victim of gender-based violence was not treated well in our police station, and we do take corrective measures against those ones. But we have also put some measures in place to can try to make it comfortable for the victims to come there. Amongst the others, we have established what we call it the gender-based violence desk in each and every police station, so that when you come, you don't even have to queue up with those who are coming to certify documents and so forth. You simply march to that desk, you are being assisted, whisked quietly, so taken to the victim-friendly facility where you are going to be interviewed, statement taken there, or be taken to the one-stop centers which we have in the province, you know, your eNCA, Temba, and so forth. But again, the MEC, our MEC chief also put together a team of what we call them the gender-based violence brigade.
Which MEC? For safety?
For safety,
Faith
yes.
Mazibuko?
Yes.
Okay.
Jovichos has put together that gender-based violence brigade. So these ones, they are even going into the communities, networking with the communities and so forth. You know, because there are some other victims who are even scared to can come out or come to the police station.
Yeah, because there's a stigma as well.
Yes.
Ascribed to that, and that, you know, when you go there, which is nonsense, by the way.
Yes. Yes. So this brigade, when they identify those ones, they know they have been trained. They can simply arrange, and then these people are taken directly to a one-stop shop like your eNCA, Temba, and so forth.
Is this picture you're painting existing for each and every police station in Gauteng, not just the urban ones, but Gauteng has got also rural areas? Definitive.
Maybe sometime, if you get time, invite our MEC. She will be in the position to can explain to you this program. And it's a very good program which is assisting us.
Yeah, but the police stations, you said they've got a special desk now.
Yes, yes.
Does this desk exist in each and every of your police stations in Gauteng?
In all police stations.
Yeah, so you are beginning to really try to make anybody, a woman who's been affected by gender-based violence, comfortable that they can come with confidence, that they'll be treated with dignity when they come at the police, and not to be made to feel bad about what has happened to them.
Yes, and should it happen, because of, you know, human beings are human beings. Police officers, they can also be out of line. Should that happen, they mustn't hesitate. They must bring it to our attention. They can bring it to the attention of our MEC and so forth. We'll definitely act and apply corrective measures, as we always do when these victims, they are raising concerns to us.
Yeah. Yes. Are there telephone numbers that GBV victims can call anonymously or seek for help? Do you have something like that as a Gauteng police?
Not specifically for the GBV, but we do have the hotline numbers.
Which can be used for that?
Yes, it can be used for that. And we also have our cell phone numbers. They were made public by.
So there is access.
Yes, there is access.
So you need to create more awareness.
Yes.
Okay. So I don't want to let you go before we talk about two other issues. The other one, we've seen you in action as well. We know there's Operation Okaimolao that you've been doing for a long time now, but also part of that, you've also been tackling, finally, in my view, the issue of cable theft.
Yes.
Because there's millions and millions rands worth of copper cables that your men, the men and women in blue who have been confiscating and finding an arrest made. I mean, in one case, I understand it was about worth 10 million rand and stuff like that. But that's still just a dent, because, I mean, we still live, even when there's no load shedding by ESCOM, there's outages due to cable theft. Are you winning that war now?
Yeah, definitely. If it's no longer rife like it used to be, we have established these essential infrastructure task teams in all our 30 regions. How have we demarcated these regions? For example, District Johannesburg, it's having 8 regions. So in all those regions, we have teams which are working 24 hours, and these teams are integrated. We also have security personnel from City Power, from ESCOM, police, SAPS members, the metros, and so forth. So these people, they are working 24 hours, and we do have telephone numbers of those ones. I think my communicators, they will later on share with you the telephone numbers of those task teams. And we have encouraged the community that should you see somebody busy interfering with the essential infrastructure, let them call these teams and let them respond accordingly. All those successes we have seen is based on the information we are getting from the community.
For every stolen cable, there is a buyer.
Yes.
There is a user. And normally it will be in the locations, in the areas where the cables are stolen. And maybe, I don't know, maybe sometimes some of them are taken across the borders, I don't know. But I'm assuming there'll be some people who buy them locally and use them. Are you targeting those kind of scrap yards or people who smelt such cables and who use it for business?
Yes, we do. There is also an organized crime element in this cable theft or damage to our critical infrastructure. So the Hawks, they are also dealing with that one, and they've done a very good job. And these cables, they are not only being sold in our township. You know, you can't believe in Denver. Yeah, in Denver, we have arrested somebody, very big establishment dealing with those things, but they are receiving these things from
the criminals.
From the criminals. And not very long, you know, I was in Moffat View there. In Moffat View, again, we have, we went into another place. When you get there, brother, if you didn't have an intelligence, you won't know that this person is receiving stolen cables, and they are processing it in that particular space. Intelligence,
you mentioned. Yes. You've been criticized as a police for lacking crime intelligence. Is it working now?
Definitely.
In Gauteng. I'm talking about you in Gauteng. Yes. So I know you can't tell me about nationally, but in Gauteng.
Yeah, in Gauteng, they are hard at work because the marching orders are simple. We are forever on the street. But we need to guide our operation based on the information and intelligence gathered by yourselves. You know, there is a lot of things which they are giving, and there's a lot of crimes which we are stopping before it even happens because of the intelligence given to us by...
Does the province have a full-time crime intelligence, head of crime intelligence?
Yes, we do.
Who's under you?
Yes, we do have. We have Major General Lekalakala. And he's having his teams on the ground. All of us, we are hard at work.
Okay. Training and recruitment. I mean, I spoke to the Deputy Minister of Defense, Thabang Makwetla, at the weekend. He was attending the ANC National Policy Conference. We interviewed him. One of the questions we discussed was lawlessness and crime, and he mentioned the issue of capacity for the police, and that the new recruits, I think it was General Fani Masemola who announced a few months ago when he came in that there's going to be additional recruitments. Now, they're going to be trained, and apparently they're also being trained in the military facilities because of resources, according to Mr. Thabang Makwetla. But that's not my question to you. My question to you, do you have enough men and women in blue on the ground in Gauteng?
No, we do have men and women in blue in Gauteng, but they are not enough to can match the challenges which we are having.
How many do you need to be enough?
You know, I'll piggyback on what General Kele said. In 2010, here in Gauteng, total complement of police officers, excluding the metros, it was 46,000.
Excluding the metros, which means excluding Ekurhuleni, Joburg, and Tshwane.
Yeah, I'm talking about SAPS members.
Just SAPS, yeah. Yes. 46,000.
Yes.
In 2010.
Yes. When I arrived here in Gauteng 2019, the number went down to 31,000. Right. Due to natural attrition, the number even went down further. But when you look at the population of Gauteng, starting from 2010 up to now we are over 15 plus million.
Yeah, apparently in Gauteng, the population is about 26% of the new number that the census test issued of 60.6. So it's quite a lot of people in Gauteng.
Yes, quite a lot of people. And when you look, you know, Gauteng, when you look at migration, whether regular or irregular migration, everybody comes to Gauteng. Nationally, people from other provinces, they come here. Regionally, they come here.
So how many officers have you got currently under your command?
No, currently I'm having 26,000.
And 12 years ago, you had 20,000 more.
Yes.
46,000.
Yes.
That would be a number you'd like to get back to.
Yes, but you know, we also take into cognizance the constraint. You know, financial constraint. There's no money in the country, but we do what we do with what we have.
And but ideally, understanding the budgetary constraints, there's not money. I mean, budgets are not elastic. We all know that. But understanding the priority, you know, that you have to deal with. Because I understand South Africa currently today is facing three major risks. One of them is lawlessness and crime. The other one is youth unemployment. Surely there should be a prioritization or reprioritization of your budgets to give you more men and women in blue in Gauteng. Yes,
you know, when you look at the UN acceptable ratio, population police ratio, it talks about 220 per
police officer.
Yes.
And you are far from that.
Yeah, we are far from that. So we can start there. But we need to take advantage of information technology which is available to us and make use optimally of that. You know, the cameras owned by the private sector, cameras owned by the municipalities, we need to take advantage of those things because they serve as a deterrent. But at the same time, we must also ensure that, you know, we make use of the drone technology to can access areas which are not so much accessible to us.
Okay. Now, I wish you well, but Gauteng deserves more than 20,000. You deserve more. And between the National Commissioner, Fanny Simula, and the Minister of Police, and National Treasury, and the Premier of Gauteng, all of them, something has to give. Because if risk analysts are telling you that your country faces three major risks, the top three, youth unemployment and lawlessness and crime, then you can't not spend money. This is my view, by the way. I'm not expecting you to respond to it. You may if you wish, but this is my view. I mean, you should be walking into that office and say, guys, I need more women and men in blue. I can't be dealing with such serious crimes that we're faced with day in and day out with 20,000 men and women.
No, definitely if we need more and they know about our needs. And one other thing which we are also doing is to mobilize the communities, because of if you have communities working with you, majority of the communities working with you, it's a force multiplier.
But they say they don't trust the police all the time, Commissioner. Sometimes they say they go to the police station and they make allegations, like in Krugersdorp, that some of the police officers are getting paid by the zama-zamas, for example. And there's corruption in the police force. How do you think then we can rebuild the trust in the police?
Yeah, I think, firstly, let me talk about this trust. Somewhere along the line, we need to make a decision. You need to take a decision as communities. If you don't trust the police, you trust the criminals. So make a decision there. And if you trust the criminals, meaning that the communities, they'll continue to work with the criminals. But surely we have a common enemy. The common enemy is a criminal. So somewhere along the line, we need to put our differences aside, unify against the criminals. It has worked before. It has worked in other areas. I was in Alexander there. You know the successes we have achieved in Alexander?
Since the shootings?
Yes. It's because of the communities and us who have put our differences aside.
But because you were visible, you became visible. I mean, it was shocking that 6 people were killed shot dead in one night, just walking, just walking around. But because you were visible, I know the numbers are not there from what you've said, but any visibility helps. And that is why I think in Alex successful. I think that is why you are successful in Krugersdorp. And then the community, they told you, here are the addresses of the zama-zamas, because they see you there and they feel reassured about your presence. I mean, is it something in your strategy that you want to intensify, visibility?
Definitive, brother. That's the way to go. That's the way to go. we need to make a decision. Do we trust the criminals more than the police? If we trust the criminal, meaning that we'll work with the criminal.
I think it's an important choice.
Yes.
Because in your view, it will assist your work. And the capacity of the crime intelligence in Gauteng, you mentioned the name of the general who's heading it up. How are they well capacitated on the ground? I mean, Gauteng, as I said, is a hub of our economy.
Yes.
And Gauteng attracts everybody.
Yes.
From nationally and across our borders. And it's the fourth largest GDP in Africa. So it's a very important region.
Yeah. No. We do have the operators on the ground who can increase the ground coverage. But obviously, we can't say we have enough. But we have what we have, and we can optimally use what we are having. Obviously, with the assistance of the technology which they are employing when they do their work.
Yeah. Will you assure the public that you are asking to trust you to make that choice, criminal or police?
Yeah.
Of their protection if they come, eyewitness protection kind of things. This country has been bad with whistleblower protection. State capture has exposed a lot of stuff. Some of them, like the likes of Athol Williams and Tabiso Zulu, are in hiding as we speak, but they blew the whistle against corruption. If somebody in the community sees something that is wrong and is criminal and they come to you, sometimes they say, hey, I'm scared because the police will tell the criminals that I was here, then my life and my family's life is in danger. Do you, as the head of the police in Gauteng, assure the Gauteng residents of protection if they stand up and make the right choice?
Definitely, if we'll do that. Just to inform the public to say that the witness protection, it's a program within the NPA. It's a program within the NPA, but also from our side, we make that commitment that you share information with us. Surely, we are not going to compromise you.
So it can be anonymously shared to protect the person giving information. Okay. As we continue, just want to go back to Krugersdorp. 102 people is quite a lot of people who've been arrested. And you are investigating a rape case, among others. They have contravened, as far as we know today, the Immigration Act by being in the country illegally, coming from all different countries of Southern Africa. Because of your investigation into rape, would you use identity parade? Would you as a police conduct an identity parade of those arrested? If, I don't know, it must be hard for the victims. But is it something you would consider?
Yeah, it's one of the investigative mechanism to do the identification parade. But with this one, we must take into consideration, the state of psychologically, their emotions and all those other things of the victims. We must take them into consideration. I will appeal, to everybody else that, we should not rush. We should not rush this thing. Firstly, we need to take our victims through counseling, intensive counseling, and then until such time, they are strong enough to say, we are ready. And I also want to assure our victims to say that the identification parade rooms, facilities which we are having in the province, they've been configured in such a way that, it's having a one-way kind of a glass. So whoever is that other side cannot see you this side. So the victims, they will be protected because where they are going to stand and identify these people, those guys, they won't see them. But that is not what I'm saying to say that we need to rush them there. So
it's not going to happen anytime soon, the identity parade, but it is something that is possible as you carry on your investigation when the victims are ready.
Yes, we are going to be guided by those social workers who are giving support to the victims. Okay.
I heard the minister saying the other day that somebody has distributed addresses of the victims. He was speaking that he had heard that somebody, when he went to Alexandra, to meet the families at the Alex police station the other day. And I thought, but why could you talk about technology? People are using because then that puts their lives, endangers the lives of the victims even further. If it's true, what has happened. Is there any kind of support, besides the investigation, that the police are giving to the families to assure them of their safety at this very, very trying, traumatizing time?
Yes, support it is there, but coming back to that one, we have investigated that matter. Going back to say...
The one of the addresses?
Yes, of the addresses. We wanted to understand who and then on which media platform was this addresses. We find that this one says, no, I saw it in the WhatsApp group of a certain group somewhere, and then, So it was something.
So it's baseless.
Yeah, it was.
It's good to hear that it is baseless, because it's something that's stuck on top of my mind. Okay, so I've tried to cover a number of other things. Just from you, what gives you sleepless nights? I know you hardly sleep nowadays, but if you were planning to sleep, what is another issue around policing, safety and security in Gauteng that keeps you awake at night, that you think could be done better?
Crime itself, serious and violence crime, it's here in Gauteng. And every crime which is, or most crime committed in Gauteng, there's an element of violence in it. And that worries me. That worries me because at times I ask myself a question: if you want a cell phone from this person, why do you use violence to can take the cell phone?
Yeah, and the other concern, as we conclude, Commissioner, will be the proliferation of illegal arms and ammunition. I mean, I'm not a trained soldier, but I know that you don't need to fire 138 rounds of the AK to kill 16 people like they did at the tavern in Soweto, unless you know that there's more where you got that ammunition from that you don't even pay for. The illegal arms and ammunition must concern you as well.
It does concern me. And you must also check, when we do the destruction of this firearm which we have confiscated as the police, and look at the number of firearms confiscated in Gauteng, it's a bigger number. But at the same time, there is still a lot of firearms. And we have also observed that there is new element again of the replica firearms. There is these toy guns which look like the real ones. And it is mostly used in the CBDs like Johannesburg. Somebody point to that thing and then they take whatever. So you as the victim, you don't have time to can check, is this a toy gun or a real gun and so forth. It is also a concern for us. But again, some of the licensed firearm holders who are very much reckless, who are using these firearms irresponsibly, firing randomly, so it is also a concern. So the issue of firearm, it is a problem.
Yeah, you have a lot of problems on your plate. But thank you very much for your time this afternoon here on Today on eNCA to talk to us about a number of issues that you've been busy with. I know you're going to be continuing with so many other operations that you are busy with. That's the Gauteng Police Commissioner, Elias Mawela, talking to us about the sting operation that we've seen in Krugersdorp today, an additional 24 people being arrested today, and that's on top of those that were arrested earlier after that horrendous rape of 8 young South African women, and that now takes the number of 80 plus 24 to 104. They are still being investigated. They are all being charged with contravening the South African Immigration Act because they are all here illegally as they have no documents on them. Their investigation is continuing as well into the rape itself, and he says, give us time as the police to make sure that we forensically cover all bases and we really help to make sure that we'll catch the perpetrators. Okay, still ahead on